Your mother was never dead. Shocking secret revealed by psychic at 3 a.m. In the dead of night, when the world lay quiet, young Molly sat cross-legged on the frigid floor of her dimly lit attic. Shadows danced eerily around her, cast by the flickering candle she dared to light. She was alone, heart pounding, dread seeping into her bones as the clock ticked relentlessly toward 3 a.m. This was the hour when truths twisted into the unimaginable, whispers turned to screams, and reality unraveled like a frayed thread. And yet, for Molly, this wasn't just another restless night. It was a chance and opportunity to finally uncover the mystery that had haunted her since childhood. Just then, a low growl echoed through the hushed space. She froze, breath hitching. Was it the wind? Or something far more sinister? Taking a deep breath, she remembered the eerie words of the fortune-teller who had crossed her life like a dark omen: "Your mother was never dead. The spirits are restless. Secrets are waiting." The room seemed to darken as if the walls themselves were leaning in, eavesdropping on her deepest fears. Molly's hands trembled, fingers brushing against the worn surface of an old diary she had discovered. It was full of her mother's handwriting, beautiful yet haunting. Fighting the urge to flee, she forced herself to open the diary. The pages felt like they pulsed under her fingertips, each word a breadcrumb leading deeper into the unknown. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the attic, slamming the window shut with a bang that echoed like thunder. The flickering flame extinguished, leaving her engulfed in darkness, an all-consuming void that swallowed every ounce of sanity. But in that silence, a whisper crept into her mind, a chilling suggestion that perhaps the truth was more horrific than she could imagine. What if my mother really isn't gone? She thought, her heart racing wildly, the lump in her throat tightening. What if every night, she walked this earth, shrouded in shadows, waiting for Molly to find her? Fear and hope warred within her, and every instinct screamed for escape, yet something deeper, raw curiosity anchored her to that very spot. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Molly's fingers flicked through more pages, revealing cryptic notes and drawings that seemed to pulse with life. Something brushed against her shoulder. She gasped, heartbeat hammering in her chest as she turned, expecting to see a specter lurking behind her. But the attic was empty, just the cold air swirling like a lingering ghost. The tension rose, and the diary trembled in her hands, alive with some unknown energy that whispered to her of long-buried secrets, begging to be unearthed. Just as she was about to read another line, a strange sound cut through the silence, a soft, melodic hum, echoing from the corner of the attic. It was sweet yet haunting, drawing her nearer, not allowing her to resist. Molly felt the floor shift beneath her. Was it her imagination, or was the very ground beneath her hiding something? The walls seemed to close in, and she was drawn to the source of the sound, hungry for answers, terrified by what she might find. As she stepped closer, she felt a sudden chill, needle-like on her skin. The hum grew louder, vibrating through her bones. She felt like she was standing on the edge of a dark cliff, ready to leap into the abyss below. What awaited her there? A secret that would change everything, or a horror that would consume her? The question echoed louder than her heartbeat, beckoning her deeper into the mystery. The melody twisted through the air, curling around Molly like a vine, pulling her closer to the corner of the attic. Adventure and danger intermingled in her heart, taking her breath away. Each step put her further into the unknown, her feet moving almost of their own accord. As she approached, the sound intensified, like a siren's call, a promise of uncovering long-buried truths. The shadowy corner became more defined. A pile of old, rotting boxes trembled as if they held their own pulse. What could lie within them? Her mind flashed with terrible visions of dread. What if she found something that shouldn't be unearthed? Molly hesitated, instinctively clutching the diary. It felt alive in her grip, as if it shared her fears and shared her determination. With a steadiness she didn't quite feel, she shoved aside a broken box, revealing a small, worn trunk. The lock was rusted and delicate, whispering of forgotten stories and faded dreams. She knelt, heart racing, and reached for the latch. It was as if the world held its breath, waiting for her to unveil what lay within. A sudden yelp echoed from the other side of the attic, snapping her pulse faster. The sound was unmistakable, a voice. A voice calling her name. Molly, a chill ran through her, a voice she recognized, yet feared. It was faint, distant, as though it existed between the veil, just out of reach. Was this another sinister trick of the shadows? Or was it her mother, beckoning her from the beyond? The questions were blurring her vision, and she could almost see the outline of a figure slouching in the dark. The candlelight had abandoned her, taking a breath that felt like ice in her lungs. Molly opened the trunk. It creaked like a hidden door to a long-forgotten nightmare. Inside lay a collection of items, dusty and decayed. A tarnished locket, a tattered photo, and beneath them, a bundle wrapped in yellowed cloth. Instinctively, she could feel the answers swirling just outside her reach. Trembling, she unraveled the fabric, revealing a diary very much like her mother's, similar in handwriting, but dated years after her supposed death. Panic poured out from her chest. What was this? How had her mother's writing continued in secret? The hum faded, replaced by a dark, forbidding silence. Alone, with just the presence of the trunk, Molly felt the walls constricting around her, compressing time and space, pushing her deeper into despair and curiosity. Was the truth worth the hunt? Every nerve in her body screamed to run, yet the connection to the diary rooted her in place. Just as her fingers brushed against the faded paper, her breath hitched again. The attic door creaked open slightly, a figure standing at the threshold, silhouetted by the dim light. With heart racing, she turned, stomach flipping at the sight. "Molly, you mustn't read that," the figure said softly, the voice holding a mix of warmth and warning. Molly's heart plunged. Could it be? The echo of recognition pulsated through her. "Mom?" The figure stepped further into the room, and the world fell away. Was this the moment she'd waited for, or the beginning of her greatest nightmare? The figure's delicate features flickered in the dim light, uncertainty playing across every line of her face. Molly, her voice was both a tether and a noose, drawing Molly closer while simultaneously sending dread creeping down her spine. "Is it really you?" The words tumbled out, shaky. Each syllable felt like a wild guess in a game with no rules. Memories of warmth and safety flooded her mind, but they clashed violently with the truth she had been raised to accept. As their eyes locked, a wave of recognition crashed into Molly, pulling her deeper into chaos. This woman, this specter, was undeniably her mother. But how? The churning questions left her breathless, drowning in the swirling doubts. "Why did you leave me?" Molly's voice cracked, vulnerability echoing off the attic walls. She stepped back instinctively, bumping into the trunk, the rusted latch hot against her palm. The diary lay open, an unfinished story, one that both beckoned and warned her. "I never left." "Not really." Her mother's voice was a whisper now, heavy with untold secrets and a heart-wrenching urgency that made Molly's mind spin. "But we don't have time for this. You must understand there are forces at play, things that are far more dangerous than you can imagine." Molly's heart raced. "Forces? What forces?" she asked, the lump in her throat thickening. Shadows seemed to warp around them, breathing malevolence. "Things that took me away," her mother said, her gaze drifting toward the attic's dark corners. Memories and fear flickered in her eyes, as if a horror were rising to the surface. "The diary, it holds the key, but it also binds you to a fate you're not ready for. You can't read it, Molly. You just can't, but her mother's panic only ignited Molly's curiosity. Those pages whispered like ghosts, and with her mother's arrival, the urgency clawed at her mind. What could be so dangerous about the truth? Just then, the attic door creaked wider, and the air thickened, charged with apprehension. From the hallway, shadows lurked, shifting as if conspiring to slip inside. Molly's pulse quickened. Had the world outside transformed into something more sinister? "Molly, please." Her mother's hand shot out, desperation threading her voice. "You have to trust me. There are things in this house." But before she could finish, a loud crash reverberated through the attic. Boxes toppled as if something unseen charged through the darkness. Molly spun around, adrenaline making her heart pound harder. Was it the forces her mother spoke of? Was she in danger? "Molly, stop." Her mother's voice sliced through the chaos, resolute yet terrified. With a jolt, Molly understood it wasn't just the diary that stirred the shadows, it was the connection she held, the blood that coursed through her veins. Whatever this power was, it was calling to her, drawing her into the storm. She turned, eyes wide, the diary now burning in her hands. What is this about? What do I have to do? The shadows wavered around her, the room dark and oppressive. Molly's heart raced. She was standing on the brink, poised to leap into a battle of truth and darkness that could change everything. "Molly," her mother murmured, "you're not ready." But Molly had already made her decision. She stepped forward, clutching the diary close, ready to fight and ready to learn whatever secrets came next. What dangers lie in the truth? And more importantly, what will she discover about herself as the shadows draw closer? The attic fell into a tense silence, held captive by Molly's rising fear and anticipation. The shadows moved as if breathing, drawing closer, inching toward her like a predatory beast waiting to pounce. The diary felt alive against her chest, she could almost hear it whispering secrets that she wasn't sure she was ready to confront. "Molly," her mother's voice trembled, cracking under the weight of urgency. "Don't let them take you, please." But who were they? The chilling thought sent shivers down Molly's spine. She lifted the diary, turning it over in her hands, the pages fluttering softly like trapped birds. Just as she opened it, a throaty growl reverberated from the shadows. It echoed off the walls, a deep rumble that seemed to awaken something dark within the dusty corners. Molly froze, paralyzed with terror. The sudden chaos felt overwhelming, like a storm at sea, threatening to pull her under. "Molly! You can't read it!" Her mother shouted as if her words alone could protect her. "Please, the power inside you is already fighting to escape. You can't let it loose." With trembling hands, Molly pressed the diary to her chest. 1,000 questions spiraled in her mind. What power? What revelation awaited her in those pages? Deep down, the truth clawed at her, a magnet pulling her ever closer to danger. Suddenly, the attic door slammed shut, rattling the old wood and sending dust cascading like snowflakes around them. The darkness deepened, swallowing every ray of light. Molly could barely see her mother's face through the gloom, but the panic was palpable. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Molly! Listen to me." Her mother's voice strained against the rising sound of darkness. "When I was taken, it was to protect you. I had to hide where they couldn't find me. They want your power." Power? Was she supposed to inherit something from her mother? She could barely comprehend the truth of that moment, and dread began to morph into anger. How could her mother have left her to face a world without answers? "What do you want from me?" Molly shouted, her voice piercing through the shadows. "What do I have to do?" A cold wind swept through the attic as if the house itself exhaled a breath it had held for decades. The diary trembled in her grasp, the pages rustling noisily, begging to be opened. "Molly, please, don't." Her mother cried out, eyes wide with fear. "You're not prepared. The diary is not just for you, it's connected to everything. An icy rush of wind surged around them, swirling fiercely, lifting her mother's hair from her shoulders and whispering fragmented phrases that echoed through the attic. Just then, the shadows began to morph, swirling into a vague figure, a dark entity that seemed to consume light. "Molly," it hissed, the voice a slithering whisper that sent chills racing across her skin. "Your destiny beckons. Embrace your lineage." Before she could respond, the figure lunged forward, and Molly instinctively stumbled backward, the diary slipping from her hands. It fell open, pages fluttering wildly, revealing words that seemed to shimmer with a foreboding light. Symbols spiraled like constellations. "Molly, no!" her mother shouted, reaching out as the shadows swelled around them. The ground beneath her shuddered, grabbing for her like hands made of darkness. Molly's heart raced, desperation clawing at her throat as she lunged for the diary. Would discovering its secrets empower her or doom her? In that instant, she felt a connection, a surge of energy coursing through her veins, illuminating her like a beacon in the night. The world around her dimmed, and she knew the time had come. She had to decide whether to confront the mystery or retreat into ignorance. "Molly," her mother whispered in the suffocating dark, "the truth will set you free, but first, you must survive." As the shadows seemed to tighten their grip, Molly's resolve began to harden. What awaited her at the heart of this chaos? Was she brave enough to face it? What happened the night her mother vanished? Could she decipher the diary's secrets before darkness swallowed her whole? The air crackled with electric tension as the diary's pages fluttered, revealing symbols Molly couldn't quite comprehend. Each one pulsed, almost as if alive, beckoning her to delve deeper. What lay hidden within these pages, and what price would she pay to uncover it? "Molly, please." Her mother's voice broke through the whirlwind of chaos that enveloped them. "You have to trust me. The shadows, they're here for your bloodline. They're hunting you. You must resist." As if responding to her mother's words, the dark figure coiled even closer, its shadowy form undulating like a restless sea. Cold dread washed over Molly, paralyzing her limbs. The pulse of the diary grew stronger, resonating with a familiar force. It was as if it recognized her, as if calling out to her very essence. "Who are you?" Molly found her voice despite the fear gripping her heart. "What do you want?" The shadow stilled, and for a moment, the world around her seemed to quiet. "I am a remnant of your blood's legacy," it hissed, the voice slinking through the air like smoke. "To be powerful, one must first embrace their truth. Can you handle what awaits inside your veins?" Her heart hammered violently, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Power? The weight of her potential pressed down on her like a stone. But it was hard to separate what she wanted from what this creature wanted. Did it desire to consume her, or did it seek to guide her toward transformation? "What will happen if I don't?" She countered defiantly, clenching her fists around the diary. The figure twisted, a wisp of darkness drawing closer yet again. "You will remain a shadow of yourself, a flicker in the night, forever haunted by your own legacy." "Molly!" her mother yelled, voice strained and frantic. "Don't listen. You don't know what powers you might unleash. They are waiting for a weak moment to strike. This is their game." The tension in the room escalated, the air thick with malice. Sweat dripped down Molly's back as the shadows clawed at her fear, trying to pull her under their spell. But in that moment, with her mother pleading, she felt something awaken inside her, a flicker of resolve ignited by the desperation in her mother's eyes. "I won't let you control me," she shouted, defiance surging through her veins. With a sudden surge of determination, she grasped the diary tightly and flipped it open wide, allowing the pages to spill forth their secrets. Words danced and twirled, shimmering like stars in the night sky. As her eyes scanned the pages, an understanding etched itself into her mind. A chant, a series of phrases, leaped into her consciousness, urging her to embrace her heritage. The shadows roared in response, an eruption of anger and chaos shuddering through the attic. Molly stood firm, feeling the energy of her lineage radiating from her very core. A bright light formed around her, pushing the darkness back a fraction. "Molly!" Her mother cried out, her voice a blend of fear and pride. "You can do this. You are stronger than they know." Taking a breath, Molly stepped forward, heart thundering. "You want my power? You will have to fight for it." The swirling darkness hesitated, sensing her growing confidence. But just as she felt a surge of strength, another presence erupted. A piercing scream echoed from beyond the door. It rattled the very foundation of the house, shaking her resolve. "Molly!" Her mother cried, panic straining her voice even further. "We're not alone. They're coming." The shadows seemed to pulse with renewed anger, and the entity hissed, threatening to engulf them both. She could feel the temperature drop, an ominous chill creeping into her bones. The attic transformed into a battleground, the stakes shifting higher than ever. As shadows and light collided, Molly grappled with her identity, the choices that lay before her darkened by uncertainty. With the diary trembling in her hands, she faced the unimaginable. What would she become if she decided to embrace her legacy, to confront the horrors that had been hidden for so long? The diary's symbols glowed, waiting for her next move. The moment surged with a heavy promise, power danced tantalizingly close, but danger coiled tightly around her. What lay ahead held the truth about her mother, her lineage, and the dark forces that hunted them both, and just as she gathered her courage, the attic door blasted open, revealing a terrifying figure shrouded in darkness, eyes glinting with malice. "Molly!" the figure rasped, the shadows swirling around it as if hungry for her. "It's time to choose your side." Everything hung in the balance. Would she succumb to the darkness, or could she carve her own path through it? Molly's heart raced as the figure stepped into the dim light of the attic, its silhouette looming larger than life. The shadows danced menacingly around it, eager to swallow her whole. Each of its movements sent shivers racing down her spine, a spine that felt so fragile, so easily broken. "Molly!" the entity whispered again, each syllable dripping with an unsettling allure. "Join me, and you will know the truth about your mother. She is closer than you think." The mention of her mother ignited a flicker of confusion in Molly's mind. Images of her mother, the way she would tuck her in at night, the warmth of her embrace, the stories whispered just before sleep overlapped with the present. The shadowy figure had something she longed for: knowledge, clarity, answers. But could she trust this creature, this remnant of shadows? "I don't believe you." Her voice was strong, filled with anger and fear, a potent cocktail that fueled her bravery. "You're just a liar, trying to manipulate me." The figure chuckled, the sound chilling her to the bone. "You think you have the luxury of choices? The darkness has always lingered. It is a part of you, just as it is a part of your mother. You cannot escape it." "Enough!" Molly shouted. The diary pulsed in her grasp, the symbols glowing a fiery red. With every heartbeat, she felt the power ebbing and flowing, sinking into her skin. She could either give in or fight back. "Come to us, Molly," the figure beckoned, gesturing toward what lay behind it, an inky mass that seemed alive with hunger. "The choice is simple. Acknowledge the legacy within you. Your mother's fate is entangled with yours. Embrace it. Embrace her." Something inside her shifted at the mention of her mother. What was real? What was illusion? Molly glanced nervously at her mother, who stood rooted to the spot, face pale but determined. "Don't listen to it, Molly," she cried out, urgency lacing her tone. Molly clenched her jaw, feeling the weight of decisions crashing down on her. "What will happen if I say no?" She looked at the figure defiantly. "Will you kill me? Will you hurt my mom?" The entity's grin stretched unnaturally wide. "No violence is needed for now. But your legacy is powerful, and it is awakened only when fear grips you. When the shadows call, only then will you know." Suddenly, another scream echoed from below. It rattled the floorboards, a sound filled with terror that seemed to reverberate through her very soul. "Molly!" Her mom shouted, panic flooding the room. They're here. A pounding, heavy and relentless, erupted from the front door. The shadows visibly quivered and swelled at the sound, curling toward the attic stairs as if eager to welcome the new threat. Molly's heartbeat quickened, a primal instinct urging her to act. She glanced back at the diary, its pages flickering like a heartbeat, alive and waiting, almost demanding her next move. "Your choice, Molly," the figure whispered, its voice curling around her like a dark embrace. Choose wisely. With adrenaline igniting every nerve ending, Molly felt a decision forming, a powerful surge of clarity washing over her. She could either step into the shadows or harness the light spiraling up within her. "I will not be a pawn in your game," Molly shouted, feeling a strength she never knew she had, and just as she finished her proclamation, the attic door burst open wider, revealing what emerged from the darkness below: a tide of shadowy figures, crawling and slithering like hungry snakes, their hungry eyes zeroed in on her. "Molly!" Her mother screamed, panic breaking through all barriers. "We need to get out now." But before they could turn, before they could escape, a wave of darkness flooded into the attic, swallowing them whole. Their cries mingled with the chaos, struggle and hope intertwining in the darkness that threatened to engulf them completely. The last thing Molly remembered was the diary glowing brighter, fighting against the shadows surrounding them, as if it could somehow drill through the chaos in search of her resolve. And then darkness. What would she recover from this void? Would she uncover her mother's secrets, or would she get lost within the very shadows that chased her lineage? The air grew heavy with tension, and uncertainty clenched at her gut like a wicked twist of fate, as she awoke to a sight she never expected. "Molly!" a familiar voice echoed from the depths of the shadows. "Welcome back." Molly gasped as the familiar voice whispered her name, sending ripples of shock through her body. The darkness swirled around her, thick and suffocating, but there was a flicker of light, a soft glow in the far distance. She squinted through the murkiness, trying to discern who had summoned her back from the void. "Molly, it's me," the voice urged again, and this time, recognition pierced the haze. It was her mother's voice resonating through the shadows like a lighthouse guiding her home. "Mom?" Molly called out, but her voice sounded small, lost amid the pressing darkness. "Where are you?" "Follow the light," her mother's voice echoed like a distant bell. "You have to trust me. They're gathering all around you." With every nerve on edge, Molly felt the terror creep back in. She eased forward, the ground beneath her shifting like sand. Each step sent a tremor through her body until she spotted the glowing warmth coalescing before her, forming into a faint outline of her mother's figure. "Molly," her mother repeated, and with that word, warmth surged through Molly's chest. "You have to wake up. They're feeding on your fear." Vague memories swirled in her mind, the attic, the shadowy figures, the force pulling her towards the entity. Determination coursed through her veins, and she focused on her mother's light, letting it steady her resolve. "I want to let them take me," she yelled, the very action igniting a fiery glow within the darkness. The shadows shrieked, recoiling as if repelled by her defiance, but her mother's silhouette flickered, growing dimmer. "You must embrace your truth, Molly. Not just the light, but the darkness too. You are stronger than you think." "Stronger?" Molly felt a wave of doubt crash over her. Her heart pounded, each thump syncing with the panicked rhythm of swirling shadows. "What do I do?" Suddenly, the entity reappeared, its eyes gleaming with malicious intent. "Embrace the darkness, Molly. Oh, how sweet your fear is." It hissed, its jagged edges sharpening as it stepped closer, its form twisting menacingly. "Leave her alone." Her mother screamed, the desperation ringing in her voice. Molly's chest tightened as she reached back for the diary. It pulsed in her hands, and she felt the warmth spreading, beckoning her to remember. The letters danced across the pages, urging her to uncover her own legacy. "Your mother's past and your future belong to the shadows," the entity said, a wicked smile curling its lips. "You can't run from your destiny. They are fueling your truth." "No!" Molly screamed, gripping the diary tightly. I write my own story. The glow shattered through the darkness, blinding her. Pain surged as the shadows wailed, struggling against the growing radiance around Molly. Flecks of light pricked through the crevices of the inky beings, and for a moment, she felt free. Molly. Her mother's frantic voice reached her again, mingling with the eruption of light. You are the key. Remember. She closed her eyes, drawing in the chaotic energy around her, gathering every ounce of fear and shifting it into power. Suddenly, she focused on her mother, the warmth of her embrace flooding her with love and hope. Together, they shouted in harmony. A brilliant light burst forth, blinding the shadows, pushing them back with a fierce roar. But as the brightness filled the room, she felt something underneath a shadow fighting to resurface, something deeper than the darkness before. Molly, the entity rasped, its voice a blend of seduction and danger. You think you can banish me? This is only the beginning. Before she could ponder its words, a surge ripped through her, pulling her into the light until she was flung out of the darkness completely. Molly landed hard on the attic floor, panting, and blinked against the sudden brightness. Her mother's form was there, just as she remembered, a shard of hope amidst chaos. Molly, we have to run. Her mother yelled, urgency prickling their skin, but as they stood to flee, a figure loomed in the doorway, silhouetted against the light, a face unmistakably like her own twisted into a smug grin. Molly, you think you can escape me? The truth about her mother's past was just within grasp, but so was the darkness that awaited them. Would she find the answers, or would the shadows pull her back? Molly's heart raced as she faced the figure in the doorway. It was her. But twisted. Distorted. A mocking reflection of everything Molly feared. The air grew thick with tension, a suffocating fog of dread. Her throat felt tight and her breath came in shallow gasps. What do you want? Molly demanded, trying to project confidence. But the tremor in her voice betrayed her. Isn't it obvious? Her doppelganger purred, stepping forward, a ghostly pale hand reaching out. I want what you've always had, freedom from our family's curse, and to be rid of you. Molly's mother's voice cut through the haze. No. You can't let her manipulate you, Molly. She's not you, she's a part of the darkness. The reflection laughed, a sharp, cruel sound that sliced through the attic silence like a knife. Your mother is just a faded memory. I am the truth, the power you could have embraced. Join me, Molly. Together, we can embrace the darkness and finally be free. Molly shook her head, her pulse hammering in her ears. I don't belong to you. I'm not afraid of you. Fear is what binds you. The entity sneered, her foe. Molly's eyes gleamed, an abyss opening within them. It's why you're still here. You think facing your demons makes you strong, but it only makes you weak. I can show you strength beyond anything you can imagine. Molly felt her knees wobble. Memories fought to resurface, the whispers of her mother's guidance blended with her shadow's taunts. Confused yet desperate, she looked to her mother for reassurance. What do I do? How can I fight her? Trust your truth. Her mother cried, tears glistening in her eyes, ensuring her daughter held on to hope. You have the power to rewrite the story. Molly clenched her fists, grounding herself. She would not relent. Shadows swirled at her feet, hot and insistent, beckoning her to succumb. You want my fear? She shouted, channeling every ounce of anxiety into her voice. Take it. The air crackled as she thrust the diary forward, its pages glowing fiercely like a beacon. No more games. I'm rewriting the narrative. The figure faltered, its composure slipping as the light from the diary bathed the attic in warmth. You can't. It shrieked, fear creeping into its tone. You belong to the darkness. I am you. But Molly felt it, the shift. Every page she had turned held a fragment of her soul, each word healing the fractures within. The glow from the diary swelled, enveloping not only her but her mother too, and her connection resonated through the wood, radiating strength. "You aren't me," she declared with unyielding resolution. "You're a fear I refuse to embrace. I am my own person." The light exploded outward, tearing at the fabric of the illusion, pulling the entity into its vortex of brilliance. Shadows screeched in agony, twisting and swirling like a storm. Molly felt the weight of doubt lift, replaced by a rush of pure, incandescent energy. "Molly!" Her mother's voice reverberated in triumphant harmony, but just then, darkness pierced through the brilliance. A tendril of shadow lunged for Molly's heart. She gasped, instinctively reaching for her mother's hand, but the entity's laughter echoed loud and mocking, an ominous promise lingering in the air. "This isn't over, Molly. I'll always be a part of you." Suddenly, the pulse of energy surged around them again, and with one final push, Molly felt herself ripped from the chains that had held her for so long. But as they were thrust into blinding light, one last question floated in her mind: could the darkness ever truly be banished? As the light faded, the attic around her began to dissolve into mist, revealing another shocking truth. "Molly, what if I told you this isn't the last you'll see of her?" Molly shielded her eyes as the mist cleared, revealing a strange new landscape. Gone was the dusty attic. The air was crisp and sharp, the surroundings bathed in an eerie twilight. Trees twisted upward, their dark branches resembling gnarled fingers reaching for a bleak sky. An unsettling silence enveloped her, heightening the weight of her own heartbeat. "Molly!" The urgency in her mother's voice came from nowhere, startling her. "Listen to me. This is a space between worlds. You need to focus." Confusion churned in her stomach. "What do you mean, Mom? What's happening?" "You faced her, but it's not over yet. You're still tethered to the darkness," her mother warned, her voice trembling slightly, just enough for Molly to catch the fear behind her words. "Even here, she can reach you. You have to find the light." Molly's heart sank. What did it mean that the fight wasn't over? The ethereal realm around her felt claustrophobic, squeezed tight by the ominous call of the shadows lurking just beyond her vision. "What does that even look like?" she whispered, her words barely breaking the suffocating hush. "Trust your heart," her mother replied, a glimmer of reassurance shining through the fear. "Remember who you are. You've already started rewriting your story." Molly closed her eyes for a moment, trying to silence the doubts that nagged at her. She focused on the warmth of the diary, its weight heavy in her pocket, a reminder of her strength. She took a breath, hoping it would clear the fog in her mind, but instead, the shadows deepened, pulling and tugging at her with insistent fingers. Then, she felt a familiar chill. Laughter echoed through the trees, slicing through her thoughts. The malice wrapped around her, tightening like a noose. "You think you can escape me?" The distorted voice of her doppelganger hissed from the void, shadows swirling like claws in the darkness. "You're lost here, Molly, and I'm here to show you exactly how weak you truly are." "No!" Molly spat as a burst of anger surged within her. "I am not afraid of you. You don't own me." As if responding to her defiance, the shadows lunged again, and a surge of icy panic flooded her veins. But deep in her heart, a flicker of hope sparked. "Mom!" she shouted, reaching for her mother's fading silhouette, desperately grasping at connections she could barely see. "Help me. I can't do this alone." Their eyes met, and for a brief heartbeat, the tumult around her shifted. Her mother's faith radiated strength, reminding Molly of every moment of love and guidance. It flickered like a beacon through the shadowy veil, summoning her resolve. Molly took a step forward. "If I'm going to break this curse once and for all, I need to confront the truth." "What truth?" came the taunting reply, resonating in the very air around her. "The truth that I control my narrative," she declared, feeling the power of conviction build within her. She grasped the diary tightly, feeling the pages hum with energy. "You may be a part of me, but you don't define me." With that, she flung the diary open, releasing a wave of blinding light that pierced through the shadows, illuminating the twisted landscape. For the first time, she felt the darkness recoil, whispering protests that fell away, but in that very instant, silence took over. A new figure emerged from the blinding light, stepping forward with an otherworldly grace, eyes fierce and piercing. "You've done well, Molly," came a voice she recognized but didn't expect to hear. "Who are you?" Molly breathlessly questioned, confusion spinning in her mind. A smile broke across the figure's face, one that held the promise of answers and mysteries alike. "Let us just say, I have some secrets of my own. Are you ready to find out what they reveal about your mother?" As dread and curiosity swirled within her, Molly felt the gripping tendrils of darkness slosh back, a sense of freedom mingling with fear. But one question burned in her mind: what other truths were waiting to break free? Molly stood in that surreal twilight, her heart pounding. Here she was, caught between shadows and revelations. She looked into the eyes of the glowing figure, feeling a pull tugged by the hope of answers yet held back by a swell of dread. "What secrets?" she whispered, her breath hitching. "We are bound by what we choose to reveal and what we choose to conceal," the figure said, stepping closer. "Your mother is forever entwined with the darkness. But within that darkness lies a light, a power of her own that she wanted to protect you from." Echoes of her mother's voice floated through her mind. "You are stronger than they know." Molly squeezed the diary tighter, its warmth a comfort. She could feel the connection between them, a tapestry woven through pain, love, and secrets. "Do you wish to uncover what I have to show?" the figure asked, tilting its head, eyes bright with knowledge. "The truth you seek is in your hands. But be warned, some answers will challenge everything you've known." Molly's pulse surged with determination. "I won't let the darkness twist my story anymore." The shadows loomed, pressing in on her, whispering malicious doubts. Yet, she remembered her mother standing beside her. "I need to know." "Then embrace your fate," the figure instructed, its voice a calm amidst the chaos. It gestured toward the diary, the pages rustling eagerly as if they were alive, eager to reveal. "Speak the truth as it is written." Molly dipped her fingers into the pages, feeling the pulsing rhythm of her own heartbeat intertwine with the sacred words. "I am not afraid of the darkness. I will unveil the secrets that haunt me." The words boomed as they escaped her lips, a shift vibrating through the air. The gnarled branches around them twisted and shifted, yielding a path forward, a swirling vortex of luminescent energy. She felt the shadows inch back, their power faltering under the truth she wielded. "Find her, Molly," the figure urged, eyes gleaming, urging her forward. "The bond is still alive. Your mother is closer than you think. Only through acceptance can you set her spirit free." With her heart hammering, Molly stepped ahead. The vortex spiraled open, and she was drawn into a cascade of light and color. Memories flooded back: a child's laughter, warmth, the smell of her mother's perfume, and the touch that made her feel whole. Then, she was standing in a familiar place but transformed, a garden bathed in warm sunlight, the flowers vibrant like dreams awakened. In the center stood her mother, looking just as she remembered. "Molly," she said, her voice vibrant with love yet shaded with sadness. "Mom." Tears pooled in Molly's eyes as they rushed to each other. The embrace felt tangible, mending the cracks of lost years. "I thought I'd never find you. We're in a battle against darkness. I need you to guide me." "I'm always with you, and I never stopped loving you," her mother reassured, pulling away slightly to look into her eyes. "But you have to confront the shadows within yourself. Only then can we be truly free." "But how?" Molly's heart raced. "That twisted version of me she's filled with hatred and despair. How do I fight that?" "By recognizing that you are more than just fear and sadness," her mother said gently, brushing a strand of hair behind Molly's ear. "Embrace every part of you, the light and the shadow. Only then will you see the truth." Molly nodded, her mind swirling. It made sense. The shadows had thrived on the parts of her that she repressed. Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath, letting memories of joy intertwine with sorrow. "I embrace my truth," she declared, feeling power ripple through her. As the words left her lips, the world trembled around them. The garden began to shift, shadows swirling with desperation as they grew stronger. "Molly!" her mother shouted, her voice filled with urgency. "Remember. You are not alone. You carry my spirit." "Yes," Molly shouted back, drawing strength from the connection they shared. "I embrace you, Mom, and I embrace myself. All of me." In that moment, light burst forth from within her, and the shadows recoiled. As colors exploded across the garden in a dazzling display. The distorted figure emerged once more, desperate and furious. "You think you can resist me? You are weak." But as Molly raised her hands, the brilliant light engulfed her, leaving no room for doubt. "I am not weak," she roared. "I am whole." A radiant beam shot forth, crashing into the figure, illuminating every inch of darkness. The void screamed, clawing at the edges of light, but Molly stood her ground with her mother's spirit mingling with her own. The energy flowed, surging forward with unrelenting force, pushing back the darkness. "I reject you," Molly proclaimed. "Your hold over me is broken." The light surged, consuming the shadows, ripping through the veil of darkness that had oppressed her family for so long. Her heart raced, pulsing with freedom, recognition of her own worth shining brightly. In a final, blinding light, the distorted figure withered, shrieks fading into echoes of nothingness. And then, glorious silence, a profound sense of peace enveloped them. The garden transformed into a vibrant haven, filled with life and laughter. "You did it," her mother whispered, shining with pride. Molly beamed, tears of joy spilling down her cheeks. "We did it, together." As they embraced once more, Molly felt an overwhelming sense of closure, a cycle finally broken, a lineage healed. She looked into her mother's eyes, knowing this wasn't an end. It was a beginning. "Mom, I will always carry you with me," she vowed. "In my heart, in every story I write." And as they stood hand in hand, the garden shimmered, promising life and hope. The darkness finally banished, not entirely forgotten, but transformed into a part of her strength. A soft breeze whispered through the flowers, carrying with it the magic of connection, acceptance, and a story renewed. Life stretched infinitely ahead, unshackled and free. It was time to step into tomorrow. Now remember, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything.